Folks, welcome to another edition in Real Estate Experts. As always, I'm your host, Glenn Twiddle, bringing you a range of authors, consultants, negotiators, experts that help you, the home seller, try and figure out how to traverse this minefield of all the uncertainty of how to transact on a property and achieve maximum dollars for your property. So I'm here today with Dave Parry from down in Tassie. Thanks, Dave, for coming down, mate. Appreciate it, bud. So the first question I really wanted to ask you is, my viewers out there are always wanting to find out, because agents are like dime a dozen, they're everywhere. For every one house that needs to be sold, there seems like there's 50 agents who'll want to sell it. How do we find a good agent who's kind of worth the dollars they're charging versus, what should we be looking for to find an agent that walks their talk, gets top dollar for their seller, versus the ones that can just talk a really good game?
Yeah, thanks, Glenn. What I would be looking for as a consumer would be top quality marketing, cutting edge. Stuff that connects with the buyer, so emotionally as well, because an emotional connection with a property is sure going to get you top price. Yeah, okay. People think with logic, but we want that emotional connection with the buyer so that we guarantee that we've got the best possible price for our seller. So that's one thing. Okay. Second thing would be, the follow-up that's required with that buyer.
Okay, so you're saying are we going to go visit an agent at an open house and measure this? Yeah,
most certainly. Yeah. I would go and check out your agent, or check out a couple of agents and see what sort of show they're putting on at their open home. That's like an interview process for the consumers.
Right.
So do they have an abundance of marketing? Do they have flags out the front? Everything that's going to draw attention to that seller's property.
Right.
Interact with them, make sure that they're nice and courteous, and thank you for coming along, because if you're to engage that agent, you want to make sure that you're on the same page, they're friendly, but they're also looking after your best interest. The other thing that I would look for is making sure that they follow up. Follow-up is so important to find out what they liked about the property, what they didn't like about the property, and if it's priced correctly in today's market. A lot of agents don't follow up.
Wow. So, from the sounds of it, these seem like pretty simple techniques. Look for an agent that's nice that you connect with, that follows up diligently, and that's got good quality marketing. Isn't that just par for the course?
I would have thought so, yes. Like there's agents and there's agents. Like you said, there's so many agents that they can pick from. Make sure you interview them.
Yep, beautiful. And I love how you're wanting us to interview them, not like this, not what we call a listing presentation, but interview them in the field and make sure they're doing the right thing.
Exactly right. Everyone can sit across the table and say, I'm going to get you the best possible price and all this, but it's actually seeing it demonstrated.
Yeah.
It's hard to see the demonstration of the negotiations unless you're buying off that agent. But do they have top quality marketing? Are they connecting with the people?
Well, let me ask you this. Is there a way, even at those early stages of negotiation, that we can ascertain at least an entry-level skill of negotiation? Is there anything that we can do in those early stages?
Most certainly. What can we do? What's their bottom dollar? That would be a question. What will they take for it? Well, I know they'll take asking price. Just little things like that.
So that's what we should be looking for?
Yeah, most certainly, most certainly.
I remember one of my guests on this show, he said to me once, look, if you're really lucky, if you offer me the asking price, I'll do my best to get them to accept it, but no promises. And I thought, that's pretty good. You'll be lucky if you pay full price for this, sir.
Yeah, Are they negotiable? Yeah, they are, upwards.
I love it, mate. So your reputation as a hired gun negotiator, mate, well deserved.
Yeah,
cool.
Thank you.
So let's start with the agent's commission. It seems like there's some agents that'll work for free, and there's some agents that'll charge us 50 grand. Mate, how do we know whether the guy that's charging me a fair and reasonable rate give us your snapshot on fees?
Yeah, as far as fees, there's always going to be someone cheaper to do it for you, Glenn, or says that they'll do it for you. But at the end of the day, the commission is investing into the profit. At Parry Property, we've got a 100% money back guarantee. So if the client's not 100% happy with our service, we're happy to negotiate the fee because we believe we can demonstrate the value that we bring to the table in our negotiating.
I love it. So would that be one of the things the viewers should do, is make sure their agent is ready to walk their talk? Because I love how it's like, you're kind of you're proving you're worth it, and if they in any way disagree that you are, it's almost like you'll earn your fee rather than just asking for it. I love it, mate.
Exactly right. And if there's a cheaper agent out there in the field and we can't demonstrate the gap between them and us, because we know that we will get every last dollar, we will match the gap.
Wow, nice, mate. I tell you, I love how so few agents are going to put their money where their mouth is. So I love that we're seeing that from yourself. How about the marketing things? There are some agents that are going to wear the cost. There are some agents that are going to, insist that you pay $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 up front. Mate, how do the consumers know what they should be doing with rather than that investment in marketing? Because you mentioned before just how important it is.
Yeah, well, with the marketing, Glenn, it's an insurance policy over getting the best possible price in today's market. It's a bit like if you insure your car. At the end of the 12 months, you haven't made a claim, you don't ring the insurance company and ask for it back. However, it's covered you. The sale of your property is the most valuable asset that you're going to own. So you need to put everything into that within reason. Some people do go over the top.
So what sorts of, when we've ascertained how much we're going to invest in the marketing, we've got confidence with the agent, what sort of marketing tools? I mean, are we just talking about sticking a property up in the window and hoping for the best, throwing it on the internet? I've seen you've been leading the way with some pretty innovative stuff, mate. Tell us a little about those.
It's pretty simple to explain. Just think about salt and pepper squid. You need a bit of salt, you need a bit of pepper, you need a bit of squid. That's how you get salt and pepper squid. If you leave one ingredient out, you're not going to get salt and pepper squid. And I see leaving an ingredient out, you're not getting maximum price for that seller. So we know, because we track the inquiry, that it's going to come online and it's also going to come from print media. Okay, about 50-50.
Right.
A lot of consumers these days think that it's all online. In fact, it's not. So we have our clients invest in both marketing mediums that get a reaction.
Well, I suppose it makes sense that that if we leave out one media that results in half the inquiry, that you haven't got as much weaponry, like i.e. buyers, to drive that price up like you're so notorious for doing.
Correct. And leaving that ingredient out, do we know that the 50% of inquiry that comes from the newspaper didn't have more money? We don't know. So we follow a strict process so that we can sit there with our client and confidently say there is no more money out there. Or we can sit there and say we've got offer A, offer B, offer C, by creating competition to maximise that seller's price.
Wow, I've heard you say before, it's not about getting just a buyer, because I've heard you say before, anyone can sell a property. It's about that difference of getting the best buyer. Give us your take on what that statement means, because I've heard I've read that from you.
Yeah, the best buyer. We want as many buyers as we can possibly have to create that competitive environment, so that my sellers can pick the best buyer for themselves. It's a bit like John West, You've heard that saying?
Yeah, it's the ones they reject. Yeah.
That's it. So we want competition around that property. We want a hype of activity around that property, and we do that with our cutting edge technology. One thing that you wouldn't have heard too much about, Glenn, is virtual reality. This may be the way of the future.
Wow. So tell us, mate, I tell you, we're getting a scoop here, guys. So tell us about how that works.
I'm pretty excited about this. The virtual reality will go into your home and it will do a scan of your property, and it works a little bit like Google Maps. So you can actually walk through that property following the circle. You can look at the ceiling. You can nearly zoom in and see what brand of tap is in the kitchen.
Wow.
I think the way of the future, it might be, yes, I would love to purchase this property, subject to touching the kitchen bench or feeling the carpet under my foot.
So is that just is that the next step? Because you led the way with using property videos, and we saw you're doing some very serious videos, but you have a range of videos.
Yes.
But is this the next step from property video?
It is the next step. We're already using it now. We're already using it now. We were the market leaders with introducing this technology. We did it on one of our rentals the other day as well, and got a great response. But it goes one step further, Glenn, and we will be the first to introduce this in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, I love it, mate. So by the time you read this, listen to this, folks, you may just be seeing it pop up in your neck of the woods. But I've never heard of this, mate. It's brand new to me, so it's great to see.
There's one more coming.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow. Do tell.
It's actual virtual reality. So I saw this at a conference, Glenn. I was actually sitting in a helicopter.
Wow.
And I had these goggles on, and I could see horses running beside me. Wow. We've got the technology to go in and scan this property and have the consumer come to our office, interact with that property, with that emotional connection like I mentioned, and view the property just through these goggles.
So it sounds like with all this cutting edge stuff, I mean, I've seen some of your videos, they look like little mini movies, does all this stuff cost a fortune? You know, because virtual reality and some of the movies that you're creating, you know, you definitely captures an emotional engagement. Because I've watched some of your properties, I thought, I want to buy it. You know, but tell us about the cost. Are these things expensive?
No, Glenn. For a small contribution and the interaction that you're going to get from the public, it certainly doesn't. You know, that lasts the life of the listing. So it's not a 1 week thing, 2 week thing.
Right.
It lasts the life of the listing.
Yeah, okay. So then they seriously do look like, because I've got some experience with video, you know, $5,000 and $10,000. That's not what the consumers are being asked to pay for those things?
No, definitely not.
Wow.
Definitely not. Our marketing packages do vary depending on what the client wants.
Yeah, okay.
I've had clients which have asked us to do different crazy stuff.
Yeah, I've seen them, mate, love them.
Yeah, I've been sitting in their lounge room and I say, hey, why did you call us in? Well, my property's been on the market for 2 years and we think we need it to stand out. Can we have one of those crazy videos?
Well, what's your take on those? I mean, because you've copped some flack for doing them, because you're not just a normal real estate agent, you're doing things differently. You stand out by kind of, you know, being outrageous, I suppose one would say. Give us your take on those outrageous videos. Why do you do them?
We do that to draw attention to the property, Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
The more attention we can put on that property, the more focus, the more hype that we can get around it, the better off we are setting our scene to get top dollar for the seller.
Okay, and do you find people share those videos around with their mates and stuff when you're doing some of the crazy stuff?
Yeah, definitely. Some videos we've done have had thousands and thousands and thousands of views.
So tell us about, you know, do those crazy ones, do they actually work? You know, why do you do them?
Yeah, they certainly work. They get the attention on that property, Glenn, and depending on how crazy they are, they get shared on Facebook. These days you can share things like that, and yeah, they get massive hits as opposed to a serious one, but it all depends on the property, the price, and the marketplace that you're in.
So, as one of the guys leading the way on this video stuff, is there anything else before we move on to the next question that you'd add?
Well, Glenn, with the video, we're able to tailor it to target that market that we're chasing. So if it's a high-end property, we will probably look at doing something a little bit more serious, a little bit more straight-laced, unless my owner asks for that, which some of them do. And that's something that you can't really get from other mediums of marketing.
Yeah, okay, so tailoring it to really suit. If we've got a mum and dad kind of thing, most of us mums and dads, we don't mind having a laugh, so you'd go with that, but then maybe the expensive ones, you'd maybe make them a bit more polished.
100% correct.
Cool, excellent. So the next question I've got, mate, I've heard you write in one of your reports about this mistake that you've seen home sellers across the country make so often that you've called it buying the listing. Mm-hmm. Mate, what's buying the listing and why is it so dangerous that you're saying it costs sellers potentially tens of thousands of dollars?
Well, there's agents out there, Glenn, that will go in and tell the owner what they want to hear. They won't support it with any evidence, with any comparable properties which have recently sold or are currently on the market. There will be competition in today's marketplace. So they go in there and they overprice the property, which, like you said, can cost the seller tens of thousands of dollars. Simply because the most active time on the market is going to be your 10 to 14 day period. At that time, with the property overpriced, the consumer is that educated. Once it hits realestate.com, hits the print medium, they just turn the page or scan down to the next property because it's simply overpriced.
Right. So I've seen you get some prices that I would have thought were over the top, you know, so how can you say that that agent is overpricing it when agents like yourself actually do get 10% more than the other agent might get?
Yeah, it's about the strategy that we employ, the urgency that we put into the buyers, and certainly our high quality marketing.
Yeah, okay.
That's how we're setting record prices.
Yeah, okay, cool. So what sort of evidence should we be looking for? What should a really good agent who might have a half a chance of getting a slightly higher price, or in fact a significantly higher price like yourself, what should we be asking to look at? How are the agents that are buying these listings able to convince sellers without any evidence? You know, how can you help our viewer out with what they should be on the lookout for?
Well, an agent that buys the listing is simply just telling them what they want to hear, is certainly agreeing with them. You know, if an agent's not interacting with you and saying, well, based on these comparable sales, they're probably not giving them any information.
Yeah.
So for one, they're not doing their job. Secondly, I would prefer to walk away from that listing so that I don't injure that property.
Yeah, okay.
Like I said, you've only got 10 to 14 days to get the market engaged.
Yeah.
If you don't engage it correctly, you miss that opportunity. You get the buyers coming down, they walk through your house, and you help the property down the road sell.
So I've seen some of the reports you do to show that. Mate, tell us a little bit about these reports and that evidence that you could get our viewer to be on the lookout for that you're bringing. Like, I suppose the proof being in the pudding.
Yeah, totally understand. You're not going to know that until you engage me. However, I can bring to the table specific evidence of my track record where I've achieved maximum price for that seller. The majority of my properties, we work with a price range. Majority of my properties will sell $25,000 to $30,000 over that price range.
Wow, cool.
Sometimes over the price range as well, Glenn.
So I've seen some of your sellers raving about that exact thing that you just said. Is that another little piece of evidence that you might have? Like video after video after video of sellers being so ecstatic with your services?
Yeah, most certainly. And we also say to our clients, once they're interviewing us, they can call any one of my past sellers.
Mate, it's showing that you're walking your talk. It's showing a lot of confidence there. Very cool.
And with our testimonials that we provide to our sellers, they can ring them at any time because we've got the maximum dollar.
Yeah.
So they're, ecstatic with our result.
So obviously, as a marketing expert, you've got even other agents from around the country asking your advice. Is the colour scheme even of your brand, is that kind of, I mean, it's pretty outrageous, isn't it? The hot pink and, I know I like my pink myself. But tell us a little bit about colour schemes and branding and all of that stuff overall.
It's just an awareness about marketing, Glenn, and being bold, standing out. You've only got a short period as far as selling your home. So we've only got a short period of making that impression on the marketplace. So pink, it's a colour that stands out. It's bold, you can't miss it.
Yep.
It's very inviting as well. And unfortunately, 9 out of 10, the lady makes the decision.
Absolutely, yeah, that's true. That's true. We think we do, but I have heard it said by one of my guests that even though the ladies allow us to think we're helping in the decision-making process, but if they don't want the house, it ain't going to be bought.
Exactly right. And I like the one, Glenn, that says, I wear the pants. Renee just picks which ones.
Very cool. Very cool. So I love though that, if that's the way you promote yourself, you take that attitude of bold, outrageous, attention-getting marketing and you apply that on behalf of your home sellers as well.
Most certainly. We market ourselves just as strong as we're going to market someone's home.
Wow.
You'll see us running full-page ads in the guide to promote our brand. That's how much we believe in the guide. We do online marketing because we know that that's where our buyers and sellers are coming from as well.
Nice. So, folks, I tell you, that's been a masterclass in marketing from Dave Parry. I thank you so much, mate. Where can they find you if they want to find out some more about your skill set and stuff?
They can head along to our website at parryproperty.com.au. Just click on Contact Us.
Yeah,
phone's ringing.
Go straight. I love how you use technology in so many ways, mate. I'm so excited about seeing the virtual reality implemented and you leading the charge with such a unique, innovative product, mate. So congratulations, bud.
Thanks, Glenn.
Folks, that's another episode of Real Estate Experts in the Can. How excited are you about this virtual reality? I can't wait to see it. You may not be in Dave's area, but maybe look him up and see about some of those advancements forward in that field. For Glenn Twiddle, for Dave Parry, bye for now. We'll see you next time.